Pasco have a range of interfacing to go on Chromebooks or iPads or PCs. We're going to start with a favourite of physics teachers at higher, impulse momentum. So we're selecting two sensors here are connecting by Bluetooth, and you can tick which particular data properties that you want. We're going to sample at 100 times per second and stop the recording after 3 seconds just to make sure we don't get too much data. So that's the event, and this is what it looks like on the graph. The SparkView software has it as 2 axes originally, and we'll look at that later in the video. Another one is forces in the lift. So we're setting up here with a force sensor with a kilogram mass, and that's us going upwards, steady speed going up, and then finally coming to a halt at the top of on the next floor. Capacitor charge and discharge using a voltage sensor into a Chromebook here. And the graph just builds up as you'd expect with either a large, or it will work with smaller capacitors. Burning a candle in a bell jar, so we've got an oxygen sensor and a carbon dioxide sensor. The trace is speeded up here, but over a few minutes you would see the changes in gas level. Lastly, using just the onboard microphone, so you don't need any external devices, using the scope input, and then start recording on the microphone, and you can then adjust the time base to get a trace of somebody whistling. So the results of all these can be saved as a SparkView file and then shared with Google Classroom, and then pupils can open up their own copy, and this is the impulse momentum experiment again. So we'll get rid of the lower trace and put that in as a second graph on the same graph area. So that's the motion back in there, and then the hand tool can shift the origin of the graph and expand the scale to help with your measurements. I'm then going to use looking at the data points, so you can switch between the two different traces there, and we're looking at the green for the motion to pick up the speed before and the speed afterwards, and then pupils can use that to verify the change in momentum. The impulse can be got from the force time graph by highlighting all the points, and then using the statistics function, clicking on area, and then it gives you the area under that force time graph, and that can be compared to the change in momentum. So just making a note that it was a 0.75 kilogram trolley. If a screen grab of the graph isn't sufficient, the data can be exported as a CSV file, which can then be opened up using Excel or Google Sheets. Once it's in that format, then there's a lot greater flexibility for plotting graphs exactly for the way that people would want them.